David and Julia decided that David should go first, and that would be followed by Julia. And we may encroach a little bit into the next session, Simon Finch's session. I was enjoying that. But that won't matter, because we'll just have a little bit less of a break, and Simon will get the blame for that. So everyone will be happy. Now, David Mitchell is very famous for something called quad blogging, and last year he won an ACE Impact Award, which aren't given lightly, and I'm not going to say why, because he may be covering some of the statistics in his presentation, but they're pretty phenomenal. Now, I have to say, I know everyone always says what a great privilege it is to introduce people, but in this case, it really is genuine, because I've met both David and Julia, and what I was really struck by both of them was how incredibly inspirational they are and how dedicated they are. And with David, who's going first, he is absolutely dead keen to get children writing, primary school children. And if you get a chance to look at some of the links, which I'm sure he'll mention, you must go. You would never believe that these things were written by primary children. In fact, I don't believe it. I think David did it under their names. But with no further ado, David Mitchell.
Well, thank you very much for that welcome. It can only go one way from there, can't it? Down. Okay, well, it's great to see everyone here, and a privilege to be welcomed to Plymouth University. I've just tweeted this morning that I thought if Carlsberg made universities, this would be the type of thing they'd build. It's great. So I'm here basically, my presentation is called a quad, a blog and a leap. And it's going to cover a few different aspects of work I've been doing over the last 12 months, really. And so, first of all, I'm actually work and teach in Bolton. And for those of you, because we're a long way from Bolton, I drove all the way here last night, it's a very long way. And for those of you who don't know Bolton, I thought I'll give you a bit of contextual information, because I asked my children, the children I teach, to write down some keywords that come to their mind when they start thinking about Bolton. And what should be displayed on the screen behind me are some of the words that I've come up with, not the children. This is me. Because actually, I could big it up, but Bolton, it's not great. Okay, and I can say that I'm quite well qualified because I actually live in Wigan, and that's 10 times worse. And I'm even better qualified than that because I'm actually from Bradford, and that's at the bottom of the list completely. So I'm quite confident that I can, talk about towns in that way. So, but we'll get to the serious part of things, really, that the children I teach at Heathfield Primary School, on average, live 8 years less than the children at 2 miles up the road on the other side of Bolton. And so when you're looking at, making an impact, we're talking about changing children's lives and changing children's opportunities and extending their lives in some ways. And so when we're talking about increasing results, that can change children's opportunities for the rest of their life. So this is the context in which I'm presenting today and what drives me in what I do. So, blogging, I don't want to spend too much time on the blogging side of things here, but there was a lot of press about what we've been doing at Heathfield. And when the impact of what we were doing was released in a newspaper article, I'll just show you a clip of that later on, the UK press kind of descended onto Heathfield Primary School for a week. And this is the results there. And I think you can see that those of you who understand the UK assessment system, I'll simplify it if I can, that when we started in 2009, the children that had just left Year 6, they got 9% of those children achieved level 5 in their writing SATs. In 2010, after we'd implemented blogging and got the children really excited, and I'll show you some of that later on, we jumped to 60% level 5 writing in the scores, and I'll feature that as well later, that was unexpected. We weren't expecting to get anything like that. Possibly the bigger impact here is the progress, which is detailed there as well. And what that says, it's a lot about points, progress and things, but basically the last 2 Year 6 classes to leave Heathfield On average, each child has made 2 years progress in that 1 year, okay? And we've got statistics to prove that. And so something's working. And the more we've done this as well, the more I've done this, the more I've realised these are important, but it's actually what the children think and what the children believe and their self-esteem and their motivation. And hopefully I'll address some of those in this presentation as well. Oops, right. I'll just let the BBC, I did mention about the BBC coming to the school on this mad week after a newspaper article was produced. And I'll just let the BBC just introduce you, because from a technician or a technologist or an educator who's interested in technology, to get technology like this into the public eye I'm really proud of what Heathfield have done. And, you know, I still get a shiver down my spine when I see this first minute of this clip. I'll just share it with you for those of you who didn't see it last year.
Morning, a new week ahead of us on BBC One, starting now at 6 o'clock.
Good morning, welcome to the programme. It's Monday the 14th of February. Plus, we'll be at a school in Bolton which has stumbled across an ingenious way of making writing cool.
How to make writing cool. Forget pen and paper. Students at this school are blogging their way to a literate future.
Now, getting boys interested in writing has been recognised as a major challenge by parents and teachers alike. One school in Bolton, though, may have found a rather modern solution.
Heathfield Primary has turned its pupils into enthusiastic bloggers who think that putting pen to paper via the internet is cool. Graham Satchell is there for us this morning. Morning, Graham.
Morning, Sean. Well, as a reporter, I'm never without my pen and paper, but then I've always been a little bit old-fashioned. This trend for blogging in schools started really, I suppose, out of necessity about a year ago when there was very heavy snow. You remember schools were closed in January, so the school said, I know, let's try and get the kids blogging from home, and look what's happened. Here we now have a group of primary school children who blog to their heart's content, both at school and at home. It really has been something of a revolution here. Let's have a quick chat with Benjamin, who is a blogger. Benjamin, what do you like about blogging?
Well, I like everything you can do about it, and you can do anything. Like if you've been in school and you come back from home, you can write about the day that you've had, and if you're excited about anything.
Yep. We're going to do a little bit of an experiment here, so we're going to ask Benjamin to start blogging about what he's doing now, and we're going to.
Okay, I'll pause that there. I still get a nice smile when I think of Sean whispering in my ear that morning. It was lovely. I think there's a few others who agree with me. Steve? But this was what sparked it all. This was a newspaper article in the Independent, and it just basically says about all the different things that have gone on with Premiership footballers trying to get boys writing, and just that last 3 lines there. Neither, though, seem to have had as big effect as the opportunity to blog at Heathfield Primary School, and I was really proud of that. That, you know, from a cost of £300-400 investment, our results and impact that we're having were, you know, you couldn't put a price on that. That's been well documented. All those the impact of the measures and the progress and the attainment. But one thing we wanted to move on was let blogging evolve at school, and I say unlucky enough, I don't know, to become acting head teacher in June. Didn't really want to. I'm back now deputy head, which is good. Because as soon as I became acting head, I got taken out of class. You're then dealing with asbestos, fire extinguishers, tiles on the roof, puddles on the playground, cracks on the floor, and annoyed parents. And you don't get to see much of what's going on in the class or deliver lessons as well. And one of the first things I realised was, as a head teacher, that children get sent to you. Okay, a lot of children get sent to you, and normally because they've been naughty. And roughly about 10 children got sent to me for negative things, to 1 child being sent to me for something positive. And I really wanted to reverse that, because it was depressing me, let alone the children that had been sent to me, and the teachers as well. And so I challenged the children. I set up a blog called the Well Done blog, and I said to the children on the first day of the new school year, if you get sent to me for something good, I'm going to blog about you, okay? And I guaranteed them that's what would happen. I should have thought about that before I'd said it. Because within the first hour, about 15 children had come down one by one, being challenged to come to see me. But with modern tools, things like a phone with apps, and I'll show you very quickly a couple of them, you can capture some wonderful things that went down an absolute treat with the teachers, with the children, and especially the parents. And because you were able to capture things like this, just within 20 seconds of a child coming in, being able to put my asbestos report down, which I really wanted to put down. A child come in, oh wow, what have you been, something good? And say, oh yes, I've been doing this and I've got some work. Oh, let me take a picture. There we go, fantastic, there's a sticker. Off you go, see you later. And by the time they got back to their classroom, using apps like ClassDroid or the WordPress app or other things, that would be on the blog. I wouldn't have to do anything more than a few taps on my phone and that will be on the blog. And we've got about 400 posts on that Weldon blog, and every child has been featured on it. And you just look at, as a teacher, an educator, looking at these faces, and also as a parent, how proud I would be to see these on a school blog. Being proud for many different things. Also, what I did was it became very one-dimensional. It was all about pictures, and wanted to add another dimension. There's another app called AudioBoo. And there's a desktop version of that. And if I come out of this, I should be able to quickly show you what that allowed you to do. And just listen to this. This is a 5-year-old girl telling me, I just spotted her in the corridor with some work that she was pleased with. Just look at it, it melts me this when I listen to this.
I've really been working. Hi, my name's Neve. I've been good at working on loads of things. I've writed from baby animals. Should I tell you to them? Okay. A baby cow's called a calf, and a baby chicken is called a chick. Baby kitten's called a kitten, and a baby horse is called a foal, and a baby dog is called a puppy, and a baby duck is called a duckling, and a baby sheep is called a lamb. And a baby goat is called a kid.
How gorgeous is that? And that was just literally, as long as it took me to record it, publish, and it was on there straight away using AudioBoo. Really good way. And I imagine as a parent, being able to do that or see that live from the day was just brilliant. So I was able to add another dimension, which was really good. But with blogging, I've used this word evolution. This was key, and I got taught a really valuable lesson by my children, because about a year ago they came to me, a group of them, and said, we want our own blog. I said, what do you mean? He said, I want my blog. I don't want the class blog anymore, I want my place. And I, without even thinking about it, said no. I said, we're a little school, we have 1 million hits a year in our blog, stay here where the traffic is, be safe, this is where you're going to be, is where everything's going to happen. And they kind of shrugged the shoulders and off they went, and I forgot about it. Until about a week later in the playground, in the corner of the playground, 30 children, all group in the corner, and I thought, fight, first of all. So I kind of wandered over there quite quickly thinking, oh dear, what am I going to find? To see children stuffing bits of paper away in their pockets. And I asked them, what's going on, what's going on? They all went quiet and walking off like they do, until Thomas, you'll meet Thomas in a minute, he said, I'll tell you, Mr. Mitchell, I'll tell you, it's John. He's downloaded WordPress onto his computer at home, and he's made his own blog because you won't let him. And he was really kind of pointing at me like this, and I was like, and that's when I realised, I just thought, what am I doing? Stopping them from doing it. They're going to go and do it anyway. So we might as well do it in our domain where it's safe and we can keep an eye on what they're doing rather than going off on their own at 10 and 11 doing this. And so I said to the children, I thought, I might be able to milk some blog posts out of this. I said, well, write me a blog post. Tell me what you want to do with the blog and why you want it, what you want to do with it. And so that night, Fern wrote a blog post called, Why Have an Audience If You're Not Going to Use Them? And I thought that's quite intriguing. And so I read on, and what she wanted to do was release her book. She wanted to write a book, a chapter at a time, to get most comments possible. And at the end of every chapter, she wants the audience to decide what happens next, like in an online poll. And I thought, this is good. Like your old choose your own adventure stories. things like that. But she wanted to do it. She said, but Miss Mitchell, there's a problem. I found a website, but it's over 18. I thought, initially, I started thinking, oh no, sack, the sack, you know. And she said, but it's called poledaddy.com. And that was even worse, thinking, no, this doesn't sound good at all. She said, and she saw my eyes, she went, no, Miss Mitchell, it's just like an online polling system where you can create a poll. I thought, oh, right, okay. She said, but it's over 18, so if I left a few options at the bottom of the blog post, will you create the poll for me? I was like, of course I will, no problem. So off she went that night, created a blog post and a poll at the bottom. And I'll read you the first one. This is a level 3 writer at this stage. Had it gone? There I was, stood on a street corner, panting for my breath. This ferocious beast was pounding after me. Bang, bang, each foot getting closer and closer. I could feel his breath panting on my neck. It was skulking after me. I turned around to see a petrifying sight. Whoosh! The beast, with eyes like two suns from outer space, had gone, disappeared, like it had something else to do. Cautiously, I took one diminutive step forward and peered around the corner. What did I see? And she left them there, and I created this poll for a vortex, an open window, a man dressed in a black cape, or an egg on the floor. Egg on the floor won. People were intrigued to know what she was going to do with an egg on the floor. And the next morning she came back with, just look at the numbers of people voting. I just threw that link on Twitter, and people were, oh, I'll have a quick vote. And she came in the next day. I said, have you seen it? Have you seen it? She said, yes, I've seen it. I said, it's fantastic, isn't it? She went, yes, it is. I said, well, you're going to have to do your next bit then. She went, oh. She's got a bag, pulled out 4 exercise books that she'd bought from home, and she'd written the next part for every option, just in case it had won the vote. And as a teacher, you're just thinking, this is just magic. You know, this child, level 3, wasn't particularly interested in writing, going home, doing this, parents involved, extended writing because she's planning the next section, and she went on. And over the next, about 2 weeks, she produced chapter after chapter after chapter, and I've only included the first 5 here. Okay, but I'll show you a link where you can go and explore that and have a look in more detail. But really, really good example of how I nearly stopped that from happening. You know, my kind of narrow-mindedness nearly stopped that from happening. And so again, this word evolution that we're talking about here. And I'd seen a couple of schools that had contacted me saying, we're doing blogging, but it's not working. We've got no audience. Because the key to a blog is audience. It's a massive part of a blog that the other people can come and leave comments for the children. And it was whilst in a school in Blackpool that I saw this, some fantastic work being done on blogging, but they had nobody coming to their blog, nobody leaving comments. And children were getting bored, the parents weren't particularly interested, the teachers were losing interest. I just thought I couldn't let this go. And so I came up with something. It wasn't called quad blogging then because it was just an idea. I contacted 2 other bloggers who I knew had successful class blogs. I said, look, can we send some of our kids to this class blog and give them a bit of a spark? And so we did. We sent them to this blog, and the children were getting engaged with it. And there were 4 of us, so I kind of thought quad nearly rhymes with blog, doesn't it? And we'll do this. Every week, one school becomes the focus, and then the next week, the other school becomes the focus, and all the other 3 schools come and bombard them with comments. The next week, the next school's the focus. It's like a cycle. So every 4 weeks, everybody gets a turn and gets bombarded with comments and hits and things like that. And it was great. And it was really working. And so on the at the beginning, it was 3 schools helping 1 school. But Terry mentioned the numbers involved. And the next slide shows you how it kind of grew. And it's still growing at such a rate. In the first week, 4 classes became 20. 20 classes have now become way over 1,500 classes from 35 countries. In fact, that's more now, involved in this. And it's free. People can sign up who's got class blogs. And basically, it's the same model. They get put into quads, and people, there's a quad coordinator, and it all works really well. But it's growing at such a rate it's just fantastic. And there are tools out there you can use to see what's going on with them. And this is just for my benefit, because when I first started, I admit it, I'm quite shallow, okay? Have you ever Googled yourself? Own up. Okay, yes. I do it because there's a very famous David Mitchell okay? And so I just enjoy looking at his and pretend it's me. But I did it with quad blogging, and I remember when there was one, when there's just one result on there. And it's grown, it's grown, it's grown. It's just one little measure of how it's grown, just 40-odd thousand. In fact, that varies. Sometimes there's 80,000 up there, but just you can see what's going on by just Googling it. And also, there's a lovely little tool called scoop.it. And if you go in there, use that link just to put quad blogging in, it crowdsources all the quad blogging posts, and it gives you a little snippet, and you can go into them and have a look. So it's worth certainly looking at. And I'll share a link with you at the end where that's on as well, so we can see that later. Again, moving on, evolution. I'm absolutely on a mission to get children blogging, to get audience to the children's learning. There's a man called Bill Lord, he's on Twitter as Joga5. I was listening to him speaking. He talked about the children's writing tray at school is a hospice for writing, okay? Where writing just goes, nobody reads it, and it withers away and dies painfully, okay? And it just goes. And that is driving me to think that we've got to do something and get more children publishing their work into the open safely. And one thing I wanted to do was a project where, this is a bit of a social experiment really, where we could strip down blogging, okay, to its simplest form, so that you could go to this February29th.net and you could create a blog post just by filling in a form. No sign up, no email, no nothing, just go on and deliver and put it on there and see what happens. Again, put it on Twitter. It grew and it grew and it grew and it was only open for one day, okay? And just look at the numbers, okay? Through social networking and other things, you know, from the back streets of Bolton, it grew to 400,000 hits in the day, 12,000 posts, and can I just say, all moderated, okay? Because we didn't want anything going wrong on this stage, and I've got Julia to thank for coming on and that and helping moderate, and some other people as well. 5,000 comments, 130 countries involved. I mean, the blog's still open now. You can go and look at it, but you can't post. It was only open for the February 29th. And I want to share with you just a few of the posts that were put on there, because it was the unexpected posts that really challenged me and really kind of either made me laugh or nearly made me cry. And so just some examples. Now, you know, with the big push on phonics, you know, at the minute, God bless phonics for this next slide I'm going to show you. I just want you to check out number 15 on the list of things that this boy likes. Well, there's two of them, two boys. Number 15 on this slide. It's supposed to be Shih Tzu dogs. I haven't quite got the head around it, so it's Shih Tzus. But it works, okay? And I toyed about whether I should take that out or not. But I know, you know, just for Ruth Miskin, I thought I would leave it in there, okay? So that was there. That made me laugh, okay? We had, out of the 12,000 posts that were put in there, 98 bucket lists, okay? I think we've got the idiot abroad to blame for this one. But very entertaining. 29 things, because the number 29 featured a lot. 29 things I want to do before I die, okay? Loads of these, 98 of them. But one of this child didn't quite understand the concept of what a bucket list was and posted 29 things you can put in a bucket. But I just thought, wonderful. And I love the last bit. My girlfriend Megan, because she's fit. It's great. But look, he wants his teacher, a mini version of his teacher to be in there. And that's Zidane, under 12 years old, who posted that. And I just think that's a lovely little blog post there. Someone who just didn't understand the concept. But again, it deserves to be shown, doesn't it? But there were other things. You know, these are the ones that kind of nearly made me cry. You know, that this is from a lady who lost her mother on February the 29th, 1988. And obviously regrets a lot of things and has some words of advice to say, go home, wherever you are, tell your mother you love her, because before you know it, it's going to be too late and you'll regret it for a long time. Something makes me think that there's some regrets there and wants to, you know, and I wrote a comment on that saying, when I'm presenting, I will tell the audiences to do that so that her message is getting out to a bigger audience. So, you know, do that, okay, because the advice there is, one day may not be able to. Again, another one, another post here. These are all surprises. These things weren't planned for. But this is somebody whose partner suffers from bipolar disorder and has just been readmitted into hospital. And it's a bit of a cry for help. And I'll let you read that as I'm talking, but I'll point you to just at the bottom where it says 8 responses. That has a lot more responses now than what it did then. And responses include telephone numbers, email addresses of people who've said, I'm going through the same problem. Do you want to talk? You know, here's a helpline. Here's a number. Please come back and tell us what's going on. You know, look, the last line. I sit at the PC typing awaiting a phone call from Jenny's psychiatrist to see what can be done. You know, a cry for help. But lovely comments from people. Nobody abused this blog on that day. We're all scared of putting things out there. Nobody abused it. We had things in place just in case, but people didn't abuse it. There are loads more examples. My blog's deputymitchell.com. And there are loads of examples there that you can go and look at, either on February 29th or other things where just pupils have blogged about loads of magical moments that have been captured that have changed children's lives. Don't have time to share them with you. I did want to talk about quad blogging on February 29th, hence why I've done that. But I just want to finish with the words of the children and share a video that was done by BrainPop, a resource that is in a lot of schools. And they were doing a feature on blogging and the values of blogging, and they asked my children if they would provide audio for their animation, and they would animate it. And so we just throw loads of audio at BrainPop, and they created this animation. So I'll close, thank you very much for listening, I will close with the words from my pupils about why they think blogging is so good and why it's changed them.
It's like helping our education a lot, because a comment from a teacher isn't the same as a comment from the world, and the whole world can see your work and see what they think of it.
Because when anyone from the world comments, it can be like from the other side of the world or even another continent.
On our blog we have a globe. It's really good because it shows us who come on our blog. We really like it when someone comments on our blog, especially when it's a different person, such as someone from Australia, Canada, and many more people from around the world.
Well, if you think about it, blogging is amazing, because if you take some people from our class, including us two, it's like we've moved up from level 4 going up to level 5, and it's really helpful because it's just, you can do anything and it's not just about working.
I think blogging is good because, you know, we've got on the TV and radio.
And like you've gone to London.
We went to London, I've been to London before, and I've seen so many job opportunities. I've seen so much. There is so much more out there than I thought there'd be.
Like, if you've done something that's really good, it helps you a lot to do better in
it helps you
when you're older.
Exactly. It encourages you,
and
it builds up
confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, when I asked my children, I said, what is it that just is the difference between doing something all these people say and not what something I say? And it was Thomas that no one wanted to upset me, I don't think, apart from Thomas. That was Thomas at the end. He said, I'll tell you. He said, you're not real. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, you're not real. You're paid to help us. He said, these people all around the world, they're not paid to help us, so we're going to listen to them. And I just thought that was a really powerful message that they said, that explained why they would listen to you, who are their audience, and they would listen to them. So thank you very much for listening. Do visit that link to find any more information about that. And if you do visit a blog, just go and leave a comment, because it can change the learner's life. Okay, thank you very much.
That was brilliant, David. Thanks very much. We've got time for a few questions, if anyone has any questions to ask David. Young man there. Could you just say who you are and where you're from, please, and shout, because I'm not sure if there's a mic.
I'm James Swan, I'm a third year student here teaching. I was just wondering how you engage children who don't have the access at home.
Okay. Yeah, if people didn't hear that, it's just a question about how we engage children that don't have computers and resources at home. We have an ICT suite that we have open at playtimes and dinner times that the children can go and visit and sit at the computers around the school as well. They do that informally themselves, so they can book in and just go and sit and work at computers.
All right, thank you. Young lady over there, I think there's a mic coming. Hang on a sec, thanks.
Hi, it's Liz Bennett from the University of Huddersfield. Thanks for that. It was really interesting. I wondered whether you could just say a little bit more sort of advice for teachers and educators about self-censorship. You know, because you talked about the fact that your initial reaction was to say no because of the extra work and the risks and e-safety. And I wonder what advice you'd give other educators about overcoming that self-censorship.
Right. Well, we've got our blogs that are. The children can log in and they are got different permission levels. They're on contributor level. So that means they can go on, log in, and they can sign up and create a blog post, but it sits on my dashboard as a teacher. And it doesn't, I approve the blog post when they go onto my dashboard. And the same with comments that come in. They are also sit on my dashboard before I approve them. So nothing gets onto the blog without me or the other class teachers seeing them. Now, obviously, there's a little bit more work involved in when you start getting individual blogs and things like that. But you get in what you get out of it what you put in, basically. And the extra work, and I'll put my hand up and say, I will spend no more than about half an hour to 40 minutes a week on moderating posts and comments. And that's for, thousands of comments that come in each year, thousands of posts that go up. If you do it on the go, with email alerts and things like that, can be very easy. So, okay.
Cheers, thanks. It's Abdul Jabbar from the University of Huddersfield. Just a quick question. You mentioned in your talk about the need for building an audience, and the audience was the key aspect. How did you build the audience for your particular students?
Yeah, good question. At the beginning, it took a week to get the first comment, and that was from the head teacher. So it didn't really count. That was after pleading with her. But using social networking, I use Twitter. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, I throw a lot of links out from the children and just rely on people coming in and visiting from leaving links on social media. We text the parents. Some of the parents have smartphones, which you include a link in the text. They can go straight onto it and have a look. And, the local press as well and things like that. And it's persevering with it, because it takes 2-3 months to establish an audience. It's just persevering and celebrating when somebody new comes onto the blog. Okay.
Thank you very much. Do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, we've got a question from Alton Hifford Primary School, who are watching you on the stream over in the sunny part of Devon. And the question is, which blog sites do you feel are the most accessible?
As in
providers of blogs.
Providers? Ooh, controversial.
Ooh.
Well, we use a company called Creative Blogs, creativeblogs.net. We wanted to go full school-wide, so a paid service that is managed by a company that's very experienced. I didn't want that responsibility on my shoulders, and I can phone someone up. It's very cheap, £400 or £500 for the year, and it's managed. Okay. We still do all the building of that, but it's hosted, and there's always someone to call for help. There are free versions. There's primaryblogger.co.uk, which is free to start with, but as you add on things, that can add up money. There are other sites like Blogger, Google's Blogger. So they're just a few to look at. But yeah, Primary Blogger, creativeblogs.net are certainly two to look at if you're looking at starting. I know Creative Blogs will give you a free blog to start with. You can have for as long as you want. But then if you want to go school-wide, hosted on a server, then that costs some money.
One more question, thank you. Can you just hang on a second? Sorry.
Hi, it's Helen from St Angela's College, Sligo, Ireland. I'm just interested to know if there was any kids who didn't embrace this or kind of shunned it, or was it universal acceptance?
Mainly universal acceptance. There are still some children who don't particularly blog. We've just decided that's okay. You know, the bug spreads as far as the bug will spread. And those who don't want to, we just let them do what they're doing. And we've had that where a child's refused for months and months and months, and then we've done some topic where they've engaged, and that's been them unlocked and they've been gone. So it's normally takes different topics to involve different children. And it was very slow to start with. It took 3 months to get half the children in the class involved fully. And then once we got half of them, or key children actually, the popular ones that the children follow, getting some of those key personalities involved really helped. Okay.
I think we better move. All right.
Okay, it's a really quick follow-up actually, David. When you say it took 3 months, does that then happen every year with a new cohort?
No, because the children are coming up through the school who are blogging. And what's good about what we've done at Heathfield is every class blog is different. I trained the staff on a one-to-one basis for their needs and designed something separate for them, and so that the children get a different experience as they go through the school. They tend to get more and more as they get higher up because they're a bit more independent in what they can do, and so they really look forward to getting to year 6 when it becomes a massive culture, a part of their culture of learning. So no, it tends to be quite quick at the beginning of the year. Okay.
Right, well, thank you very much. Now, I think for someone who isn't real, that was an absolutely brilliant presentation. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Well, it's my great privilege to introduce Julia Skinner. Julia was a head teacher for 13 years, and then she retired. And instead of just taking it easy, she just keeps on and on and on. And I met her at BET as well, and she runs a very successful blog for governors called theheadsoffice.org, which is really, really interesting, really useful. And she, I don't know if any of you here do creative writing, but one of the things in the creative writing world are exercises to get people going. Things like 100-word challenge, where people are given a word and they have to make a sentence or paragraph of 100 words. And what Julia did was she took that down to, well, not down, but she actually repackaged it for the school level. I'm not going to say too much, I don't want to steal her thunder, but that's the other thing that Julia's really famous for, the 100-word challenge. So can we all give a good welcome to Julia Skinner?
So how do I get rid of you then, David? Right, let's talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Hello, I'm Julia Skinner. I'm at the head's office on Twitter. And one of the reasons that I'm here talking to you today is David Mitchell. It's all his fault that my retirement never really started. I retired from headship and didn't have a list of things to do. It was quite a blank list apart from doing lunch, catching up on all those classics, possibly doing lunch, using the treadmill that we've got, and then, of course, I might meet some friends for lunch. And then life might fill in the other bits. And to cut a long story short, I set up a Twitter account, saw some tweets from David asking for some help with encouraging these youngsters to get on and write. And I became Mrs. Skinner, who they really thought it was David. I had to send photographs and things to prove that I was actually real. So the reason that my husband sees very little of me, because I'm up in the study, is all down to David Mitchell. And I have to say I'm very grateful to him for introducing me to this world. I'm here to tell you about the 100-word challenge, and the reason that it fits in really well with what David has said. Hopefully, well, I'm not even going to say hopefully, you will all have been inspired to either go back and continue with your class blogs or actually go back and start a class blog. He's mentioned about quad blogging as a way of generating traffic. He's also mentioned February the 29th, which was a one-off, but I know he's got some other things planned. And the 100-word challenge actually fits in as another vehicle for you to use on your class blogs. So a 100-word challenge is exactly as it says on the tin. The children are given a prompt, and they are able to use 100 words to produce a piece of creative writing. And the key word there is creative. I want them to feel free when they do their writing. I don't want them to be constrained by the frameworks that we put on them. That comes along later. We do talk about punctuation, but initially it's about getting them really writing and feeling free to go. So, just give you an idea of some of the prompts that they're given. I have 3 varieties, and they're as much to keep my interest up as the children. One of the varieties is of sentence prompts, and they will be part of a sentence. I've learnt that I can't put a capital letter, because if I put a capital letter, the children will assume they have to start the sentence with it. And the idea is that they have that freedom. I try and pick all the prompts are for children to spark an interest. And children are always saying, it wasn't my fault. I try and link it to things that were topical. I think there was something, Harry Redknapp or somebody, there were 2 or 3 people in the news that week when I chose that one. The weather changed for the worst. Something that I'm very conscious of is that not all children have experienced snow or experience really heavy weather. So if you give them, the torrential rain, some children may actually be completely excluded from that. But they have all experienced weather. So something like the weather changed for the worse. And the one that went up over Easter was Easter eggs, but a little bit different. Chocolate rabbit melting. I discovered very quickly on that they love blood and gore. They love blood and gore, and I got really upset about it, and I thought, and I tweeted out, how can I stop the children writing about blood and gore? And the very sensible advice I got back was, don't try and stop them. Just embrace it. Make sure that it's absolutely fantastic blood and gore writing. So, I thought, well, this will help. Another set of prompts I give are picture prompts, and I have to say I'm very proud of the fact that they are all our own. That's our as in my husband. We will take photographs, sometimes specifically for possible prompts for the children. This is again in the genre of blood and gore. This is actually an exhibit in National Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh, and is actually a ball of bones. It's in their prehistoric section. Didn't get as much blood and gore as I thought. They were very creative with this. Another one, this is part of an exhibition that my husband and I went to in Gloucester Cathedral called The Crucible. It was an amazing exhibition with some fantastic sculptures. And this was part of the Fast Supper, which was placed in the cloisters. And I could just imagine it was based on our fast food and all the things and you can obviously see that this was the burger. And I could just imagine the monks walking down the cloisters, passing all this food that was going on. And when this one was posted, I did ask the children, again being very aware of don't put ideas in their head. The old pink elephant, if I tell you not to think about a pink elephant, yeah, you've got a pink elephant in your head. So I just said to them, perhaps you might not go down the usual route, because I didn't really want them to use the M word. I didn't really want McDonald's in there. And to be fair to them, most of them stayed away from them. And those of you that are familiar with this part of the country, this is an exhibit that's in the Eden Project. And again, it was looking and possibly appealing to aliens and monsters. So we did have, that sort of writing going on, as well as some children who were very, very scared of flies and wasps and things. The third type of prompt I give them are individual word prompts. Now, if I was doing it, if my teacher was telling me I was going to take part in the 100-word challenge, these are the prompts that I would find the most difficult. They're 5 individual words that are to be in the piece somewhere. They don't make a sentence. I try and make sure that they can't be linked together. I try and make sure that I'm, keeping up with the old adjective and a noun and a verb and give them a variety. And quite often, this is the prompt that we get the most entries from. So I sort of thought, well, that's quite an interesting way of going. So, for those of you who are teachers or who are students, you might be thinking, well, what's the difference then? What makes a 100-word different? As teachers, I set titles, I set ideas for my children to write all the time. So what makes a 100-word challenge different? This, and David has certainly mentioned it in his presentation, this is what makes it different. The unread story is not a story. It is little black marks on wood pulp. The reader, reading it, makes it live. A live thing, a story. So it's about having a purpose. It's about making sure that children really want to do that writing. And for some children, the only reason they write is because Miss says so. And in some classes, I can imagine that by about November, teacher and children could become quite jaded. By November, the child knows exactly the sort of thing that the teacher's going to ask them to write. And the teacher knows exactly the sort of thing that the child's going to write. And each of them can become a little bit jaded and perhaps not see clearly what is there. And hopefully, the 100-word challenge can provide a purpose beyond Miss says so. So what I'm going to do is to show you, if you were to join the 100-word challenge, what you actually have to do. So you go to the website, I nearly said. Well, that's illusions of grandeur, isn't it? You go to the blog, 100wc.net. So easy to remember, toilets and fish. If you click on, go to the website, oh, do come on. It's not that long. You've got a lot more work to do. This is what you'll see, all right? This is the blog, and hopefully the system won't be too long. Here we go. And this is the challenge that went up last night. They usually go up on a Wednesday, but I was coming here. I usually leave a message for teachers at the top, reminding them to make sure it's possible to comment and that sort of thing. You'll see there that you've got a showcase, and in there are links to specific entries from the previous week. They are really just an opportunity to flag up to the children, to give them a bit of a reward. Obviously, when you've got 350 entries, which is what we're averaging at the moment each week, you can't showcase them all. And you can see that the prompt for this week is the dragon slowly stirred, and that's sort of linking in with 23rd of April with St George's Day. I do run a 100-word challenge for grown-ups, and their prompt this week was to write a sonnet. You might see on Twitter they're not particularly pleased about that one. And next week we have the night zookeeper coming, so that's a bit of an advert for that. But what you do is you go down and you can see that these have already been linked. And what you do is you click where it says click here to enter. This will take you to another page. This will take you to another page. There we go. Right, and here, this is where you write the child's Christian name, making sure that it's all safe. The child's Christian name, either their year group or their class, and the school's name. So let's do... okay, so that's me. And here you put the URL of the post, not the blog. That is something that is quite difficult for some staff to take on board. And if you forgive me a minute, I need to just concentrate on this. You are very attentive. Very good. You'd be very good in an assembly. Okay, so I've put in the link. You can put in all the other information, but there isn't any need. And you click here. I'll need to remember to go back and take this one out. Click here, and it should take us back. Should take us back. Whoops, too quickly. This is nearly as fast as my netbook, you know. Okay, here we go. And there I am. I don't know why it's changed colour. There I am. And if we just click in that very quickly, hopefully it will say that we're in the right place. Isn't it typical when you want an example, it's always so slow? But it does work. I'll blow on it because that will make it better. It's all you lot taking up the energy, you see. You're all on all the gadgets and everything. No, something's wrong. Right, we're not going to be able to get there. But, you know, it will take you to the relevant post. And it is this list here, or if I show you, if I whiz down and show you the last one, there we are. There's the one about the chocolate rabbit. Here are all the entries. And they go on, and these were put up during the Easter holidays, and they go on. Now, it is this list that makes the 100-word challenge different, because one of the rules of the 100-word challenge, if you post, you have to visit. And the idea is that children will write their 100 words, they will post it on their class blog, and then it will be linked here. And once it's here, they are available for all the other schools to click into and to comment on. And that is where the power of the 100-word comes, really. So, it's only 100 words. This phrase, in some way, well, this phrase has given me a second career. It's only 100 words. And for those of you who are, well, I don't really know, you know, it's writing and everything, it's only 100 words. So if you're student teachers or teachers, I want you to think about your class or a class. I want you to think of them in a writing lesson. I want you to think of the lower ability group. Are most of them boys? Possibly, yes, people are nodding. Okay, so to them you say, it's only 100 words. It's not even a page full. It's only 100 words. And immediately it is giving them that confidence of, well, it isn't a great big lot. It's only 100 words. I can have a go. Now I want you to think about your high flyers, the group at the other end. Mostly girls. Those of you that have worked in year 6, they're the ones that give you the most marking to do of an evening. To them you say, ah, yes, but it's only 100 words. You can't write 4 pages. You only have 100 words. And so you have covered the whole range within your class. When it comes to commenting, you know, well, you've posted, so you need to visit. Oh, I don't want to have to go in there. It's only 100 words you have to read. So it's an amazingly powerful phrase. It's only 100 words. So, what's in it for you? Why should any teacher or any class decide to take up and do the 100-word challenge? It's an opportunity for peer involvement. David's already mentioned that Thomas said, you know, he's not real. The people out there are real. When it comes to children commenting on children's work, it is phenomenally powerful, far more powerful than you or as a class teacher or as parents. Other children commenting on other children's work just has this amazing effect. Very early on in the 100-word challenge's career, there was Luke. Luke was quite all right about writing, but he'd obviously been talking or out of the room when punctuation was talked about. He and punctuation just didn't come together at all. But his teacher had taken the decision that whatever the children presented her with, providing it wasn't full of expletives, she would post. So by that I mean she didn't, tart it all up and put the capital letters and everything in. She just posted it as the children had written it. And on this particular occasion, 2 children, one from the Cornwall area and one from up north, both commented on Luke's work, and the comments from children are always done in a very polite way, and they both said how they liked his work. But one of them said, I found it difficult to breathe, there were no full stops. And the other one just happened to mention, I think you need to have some commas and things in it. I think that was another boy, so obviously knew that it was commas and things. But from that moment on, Luke, apparently according to his teacher, flew. He suddenly had a purpose for putting punctuation in. She was delighted. She was also absolutely furious. She'd been working with this child for 6 months on punctuation, and here you are, 2 comments from 2 children, and whoosh, he's off. But it doesn't really matter. It's about giving them a purpose for writing that is beyond the classroom. It's beyond Miss or beyond Mum and Dad saying you must do your homework. It builds independence and confidence. The prompts, hopefully, are available to most children. As I say, I try and set things that will spark some interest. It won't always spark all interest, but there will be enough, hopefully, to get them going. And because it's only 100 words, that should give them some confidence. The next thing is that it builds blog traffic quickly. David mentioned the quads, and as I understand it, the first round is great. Schools have got lots of things, classes have got lots of things to share. The second round is okay, because you've still got lots of things to share. But when it comes to the third round, I hear from teachers that sometimes they're a bit, well, what are we going to do? They've already seen our science experiments, or they've already seen the artwork we've done. 100-word challenge gives you an ideal vehicle, particularly if all 4 in the quad do it. You can then share the work that you do. But even if you're not in a quad, if you're just starting up a class blog, if you do the 100-word challenge, and I have some classes, that's all they put on their blog because the teacher isn't able to cope with, it's new and they don't want to get too heavily involved at the moment. They do the 100-word challenge. Most of the children do it. That means your blog is automatically populated with things for people to look at. With a 100-word challenge, we guarantee an audience. I'll explain about that in a minute. We guarantee an audience, so you immediately have traffic. And once children see that people are visiting their blog, they will want to write more. They will want to do more, want to post more, and they will come up with the ideas. And this, great for homework activity. I've been told, and I'm a bit, I don't really know what to do with this piece of information. I've been told that I have reduced teachers' workload with the 100-word challenge. Now, I know I'm retired, but I think actually that has to deserve a salary of some sort, or an award of some sort, or at least a sticky badge. And I couldn't really work out how have I actually done this. And one told me, well, I set it for homework. So I immediately don't have to worry about what I'm going to set for homework. You set it. I know there will always be a prompt there. The good thing about that is there's no marking, because they don't do it in books. So I said, yes, but, that's all very well, but what about assessment? You can't, ignore it completely. Well, if I want to use that piece of assessment, this colleague told me, I read through the comments. And the comments will actually give me, even if it's from children, the comments will give me the flavour that the reader saw. And quite often, readers will see those little gold nuggets that the teacher, if we go back to the jaded teacher in November, might have missed. So I actually think that's worth a sticky badge, don't you? I think that's, you know, worth something. Okay, now I've got a little video that I couldn't get to work earlier, so I'm going to show you this item from another blog. It's from a class blog, and the teacher had put together. She's made a little video of finger puppets, which I won't play, but the puppets are actually asking, what does it mean? You can see there. So what does it mean to you to get comments on your 100-word challenge? How does it help you? Because I have asked those regular contributors, does it actually make any difference? You know, or do you feel guilty because I'm an old lady and I keep asking you to do it? And so she thought, right, well, it's better to ask the children. It's always better to ask the children. And so these are the sort of things that they've come up with. Receiving comments from other schools and teachers from around the world helps me to improve on my writing and reasoning skills. It's amazing what you can learn just by sharing your own personal ideas. Some more here. I love it when I get comments from other people, because if I make a mistake and other people spot it, then they can leave a comment and then I can up-level it and make it better. I'll roll it on for you to have a look. Some teachers have used their 100 words for editing skills and for up-leveling. Again, it's only 100 words, so if you give a child a piece of an entry or a post of 100 words and ask them to actually improve on it, again, it's a manageable size. It's something that the majority of children will be able to do it. 100-word challenge can help you learn from your mistakes, and you know you did it for a reason and not for nothing. It is about this purpose. It is about having the comments coming in. Comments on 100-word challenge help me when I see them. It boosts my confidence and I can take in the comments. Isn't that wonderful? I love it when the lower ability children post, because I just feel so privileged that they are confident enough to put that work out there, even though most of the time they will know it isn't as good as other children's maybe. The sock puppets went down really very well. And you know that the world is reading your 100-word. Within that, it will be things like to use the child's name and if possible, to mention the 100-word challenge and to be constructive. You don't have to not mention about the punctuation, but it's done in a way that is supportive of the children. At the moment, we've got 54 in the team, which means that every child is guaranteed one comment, even when there are 450 entries. And what I'm hoping, and then some children are guaranteed two, and what I'm hoping to do is to build the team so that we can guarantee every child has 4 comments from an adult. And what happens is the team are given a set of numbers, which they have every week, 1, 10, 20. The posts are put up as teachers are able to put them up. So when they go and when the team goes and comments, they're not always going to be looking at the same child's work, which is great. Great for the team, great for the children. And then hopefully we will encourage more adults to come on board. What we also need, though, is for the classes themselves to become more adept at going in and commenting a bit more. So if you have some time and would be prepared to give up, it's about an hour. Where's Hannah? Hannah, how long do you think it takes you over the course of a week? About an hour. About an hour across a week, because some of them will be posted, as you will see, this quickly. Others will go in right at the end when the link closes. So it's across an hour, and after all, it's only 100 words, and I'm sure you could manage. And it works out about 10 per person. But just to give you some idea, again, I'm not sure if this is going to work, this is the 100-word challenge for grown-ups. This started last summer when I said that the 100-word challenge was going to take a rest, and the teacher said, but what are we going to do if we haven't got something every week from you? Can't you do one for grown-ups? So this is the 100-word challenge for grown-ups. It's on a different blog, because some of the entries, they're fantastic, absolutely amazing writers out there, but some of them might be just a little bit near the knuckle should the children read them. So if I give you an example, this is a prompt for the 100-word challenge for grown-ups, and they had to write from the perspective of the young lady under the arrow. And I follow the same process as I do with the children, the 3 lots of varieties. And as I say, and then you can see that there's about, it's gone up to about 40 a week now. But if you get the chance, do pop into Julia's place, because there's some fantastic writing there. Really, really skilled people. And it's only 100 words. I did have a request from Key Stage 1 practitioners and also teachers who had children who just wouldn't be able to manage the 100 words. Could I do anything for them? Well, I really, my life was a junior school teacher, although I was a primary head at the end of my career. Most of my knowledge is about juniors, so I don't really know a lot about little ones, but a friend of mine who happens to be an Ofsted inspector said, right, I said, well, you know, what's the problem in Key Stage 1? And she said, sentence construction. So we have the 5-sentence challenge, which is, again, on the same sort of theme. This one is run once a fortnight. It is aimed at Key Stage 1 primarily, but also there are people who have, I've got some Year 4 teachers, and some of their very low ability children have a go at this. And they only have, and it's a topic rather than a prompt. And as I say, they've got a fortnight to do it. And so this one was winter weather. And as you can see, huge amount again. The interesting thing about this is that some of them within those 5 sentences will actually write 100 words. But they're obviously not at the point where they can follow a particular prompt. But obviously they can move on and they can, engage with 100 words. But it is just phenomenal that children are there and children are keen to write. So that's me, and that's a 100-word challenge. Please get in touch if you want to know how to go about joining. It is very simple, like leap year, February 29th. There is a sign-up form, but you don't have to do that in order to enter. And if you think that you can spare an hour a week, you will know from what David has said just how much it means, and from what Thomas has said, you will know exactly what it means to the children. So thank you very much for listening.
Well done, that's great. Thank you. We've got time for a couple of questions. Anyone?
Good.
You're going to be around for a while.
I'm going to be around, yes, I'm here for the teach meet.
Yeah, lovely.
Oh, there's somebody waving his hand. No? Oh, yes, he is.
Young man over there, yeah.
Young gentleman at the back.
Julia, thanks very much. Ian Nairn from the ISA. What's your ambition for the 100-word challenge? What are you looking for in the next 12 months?
It's a really difficult question because I didn't set out to do any of it, really. As I say, Mr. Mitchell got me involved in blogging and back in contact with children. So what I want is for more children to have the opportunity of having their writing available, but in order for it to succeed, I do need to build the team. So what I'm hoping to do is to make links with secondary schools. It's really interesting because the 100-word challenge is open to children under 16. But in the UK, I haven't managed to get any secondary schools taking up the writing, even though we've got schools in America, Canada, and Australia. Their grades 7 and 8 do it. But in the UK, there's been no take-up at all. So what I was thinking was perhaps trying to get into particularly years 10 and 11 to see if I could get some accreditation for them to become members of Team 100WC. I understand that the problem within secondary, have we any secondary colleagues here? Oh, right, one from the big school. I understand the problem is the availability of laptops, which I find astonishing given the amount of money and kit that secondary schools seem to have. So that's one aspect that I'm hoping to move. The other one is I've been talking with Pete here and with Miles about the possibility of training colleges actually putting 100-word challenge module into a kit for teachers, trainee teachers before they go on TP, and certainly Claire from Vital will be able to help me write that module. So, and then the rest, it depends what the children and the teachers come back and ask for.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. Before I thank, well, thank you, Julia.
Thank you.
Another round of applause, please.
Thank you.
And before I wrap this session up, can we just give a round of applause to Hannah? It was brilliant going round with the mic. She was there.
Well, she's one of mine.
And James, sorry. And James, forgot to mention. Just to finish off, what I think is really brilliant about this is, I was thinking as I was listening to Julia, that blogging is actually 10 years old. It came about in 2002. You'd think it would be dead and buried by now. It's brilliant that we've got people like David and Julia who are not just keeping it alive, but actually reinvigorating it. So can we just have another round of applause for both of them, please? Thanks very much.
Thank you, Terry, for chairing that session. Please stay where you are. There has been an error in the programme. There isn't a break next. We've got another keynote. And so while that's being set up, I guess we've got 5 minutes, haven't we? So if you want to get up and stretch your legs, there is a 5-minute gap. But we will be starting very soon with Simon Finch in about 5 minutes' time. So feel free to stretch your legs for 5 minutes.